Imbolg, a traditional Irish fire festival, is the first festival of spring. The earth is awakening in small ways, the birds are singing again, and small bits of green are peeking through the snow. I began my prep for this celebration, one where I can connect with my ancestors and their beloved saint by gathering bog rush to make Cross Brigid, or Brigid's crosses, to celebrate the goddess's feast day. Instead of Imbolc, I've decided to call this festival Imbolg in my personal Irish-American observance, as it is a closer translation to the modern Irish phrase for in the belly, information I've gleaned from a wonderful Irish witch and author, Laura O'Brien. The quiet of a pregnant earth is a symbolic image of this time, and also aligns with what would have been a pre-birthing season for the sheep of Ireland. A ewe's milk begins to flow a month before the birthing begins, and would have sustained the folk emerging from their winter shelters looking for nutrition. It's an exciting time of year to witness these subtle changes that can prepare us for the lush of spring. At our coven's Imbolc celebration, my husband and I decided we wanted to work with some of the flavors of the season and do some ancestral cooking. With what would have been winter crops that our ancestors survived on, we made a soup from cabbage, leeks, potatoes, and barley. One of our coven members is a vegetarian, so we made a mushroom stock as a base. And I'm honestly not sure if I would ever want to do anything different. It was incredible. My husband is a fantastic cook, so while he handled the soup, I wanted to throw in a contribution of my own. I cobbled together a very basic recipe for a milk and honey cake from a few recipes I could find online, and it turned out well. It started out as a very basic cake. Flour, eggs, sugar, baking soda. We tried to keep it as basic and ancestrally informed as possible, but the addition of the milk and honey into the batter was my favorite part. It smelled amazing. The frosting was a hand-whipped cream with honey. I really loved how clean and simple this turned out, my favorite type of baking. When we arrived at our host's house, my friend and I quickly got to work on setting up our community altar. We wanted to incorporate little bits of everything we loved, everything that was important to our lives and practices, and tie in the season. My friend and our host is a longtime devotee of the goddess Brigid. She spent many years venerating and working with the goddess in her own practice, and as an Irish American, she felt a great pull to the goddess throughout her life. Witchcraft has only made their bond stronger. I deeply admire their relationship, and have started a veneration practice of my own for the goddess, as not only an integral part of my ancestral reconnection journey, but also as a venue to heal some of the traumas of my past. The other goddess I'm currently exploring the veneration of is Morgan, the Irish goddess of warfare and justice. I have already learned so much, and my practice has transformed dramatically. I look forward to the updates I can give as we deepen our connection. Not only did these goddesses have a prominent place on our seasonal altar, but we also added ancestral items. An image of the mother goddess Danu, the images and ashes of our friend's beloved familiar, and a petition burning space so that our guests may share in on intention setting. My friend also lent her Brigid's crosses sent from her family in Ireland to the space, which was very special. Cooking part of the meal together was valued time that felt so healing to me. Our sweet coven managed to snag some beautiful alone time together to reconnect and recharge before the evening's festivities. My friend and our host is an incredible kitchen witch, and not only is it so fun to have a place in her kitchen, but it's always an important experience to learn from her. Over the long years we've been connected, I always learn so much from my friends, and they are such a beacon of light and hope in my life. One of the coolest parts of the day was watching my friend make her world-famous Irish brown bread. It's one of the best foods I've ever eaten in my life, and the recipe has been passed down from her grandmother to her mother and then to her. The ancestral aspect is so heartwarming, as it aligned perfectly with the intentions of our day. We made a quick trip into Montclair to refuel with caffeine and books. What other fuel is there, really? We had to drop in the local antique store. Antiques or secondhand stores are fantastic spots to grab witchy items when you're on a budget. These scarves could serve as veils or altar cloths and were relatively cheap. While the croc head was not cheap, I couldn't resist featuring one of my favorite spirits. I hope someone gives him a good home one day. From the reeds I gathered from our bog, the gang all sat down and made Brigid's crosses. It was a clunky and hilarious process, especially since the reeds had been gathered a few days before and were a bit too dry to be working with at that point. Regardless, I enjoyed the process and we got some great crosses out of it. Shout out to my friend for coming in with a gimlet during my time of need. The group came together then to observe the lighting of our altar. We prayed to Brigid, loaded our cauldron up with petitions, and sat down for an incredible meal. I couldn't have asked for a better Imbolc. Surrounded by my coven and folks we love warmed me from head to toe. This festival was certainly a turning point for me in my practice, and as the wheel continues to turn this year, I look forward to welcoming my ancestors and their traditions into all of my folk magical observances. Until then, witches, stay well and keep kind. I'll see you on the next one. Slangavol.